Hello, hello. Hopefully this means I'm heading over here in the group and going live. Just double checking over here. Yeah, there I am. Look at that. Beautiful. So I am here, Dr. Katie Raher here. I am here to just do a little redo. Some of you I was able to have the privilege to hold space for you in a Facebook room yesterday. And today I'm back because it was a little messy trying to learn that new technology. And so I just sat with some self-compassion and I decided I would just go live for folks so that it was a little bit more accessible and we can make sure that we got the video in here for folks so y'all can enjoy the breath work, and so Brittany can add that to the amazing library of resources for those of you who upgrade your ticket. So before we dive into the breathwork practice itself, just wanted to give a recap briefly of who I am, because when we are led in breathwork, it's always really helpful to know who's leading you and to have a sense of safety in the body with the person who is connecting with you. So I am a trauma-informed certified breathwork facilitator, and I've been leading breath for over a year now, been doing breathwork for much longer than that, and also leading educator well-being supports and mindfulness broadly for a number of years. And I found breathwork on my own journey back to well-being. I burned out several times in my career, and I had several aspects to physical and mental health challenges as a result. And on my journey, when I found breath work, it blew my mind in how much more powerful it was than most everything else I used to support my well-being. So that's why I do breath work, because it is just this really powerful force. So hopefully you'll get a chance to watch the video from that was released yesterday, my talk for the conference. And even if not, in a nutshell, the powerful thing about breathwork is it's a bottom-up brain process. So it allows us to come from the body for healing. So many healing modalities out there, they do work with the mind, and not that the mind always turns off during breath, especially we're going to do a little short session, so it may or may not totally release and get you into the body. But the beautiful thing, regardless of how much the mind comes into play, the breath comes from the body, and the body is this really hugely powerful piece of your healing journey, of your regulating capacity, of a step towards your well-being. And I see lots of folks here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And so as we dive into this, I just want you to kind of greet breathwork with curiosity, with fresh eyes. Some of you maybe are who are here. I can't tell who's here, but some of you may have been the folks who were breathing with me yesterday in the room. Welcome back. And for those of you who are new, just greeting with curiosity, because there are no two breathwork sessions alike. Even those of you who were here yesterday, I'm going to offer some similar things, but it will look a little different for you and your body, because we come to every session with whatever is arising in the body right then. So it could be, you had a stressful morning, or maybe you had a super chill morning. Maybe you got a lot of sleep, maybe you didn't, and everything in between. So every session is new, and we get to trust that the body is going to give us exactly what it needs. That's a powerful piece of breath. And so for our session today, I'm going to lean into an intention for the session that is aligned still with what kind of came up for folks yesterday. So I asked people to share how they were feeling, and I'm going to invite you, if it feels good, to drop in the comments. Feel free to, and I know there's a special step that I know that I think you have to grant StreamYard permission to see your name. But if you want to drop in the comments how you're feeling today, feel free to share a word or two or three about how you're feeling. And yesterday, the common theme that the educators in the Facebook room were feeling was anxiety. That anxiety about all that's coming, the back to school season, the to-dos, all the things. And so for this session, you get to have a chance to pause, to be present. So the intention is really going to be to lean into presence and into the pause here. And so at least for a little bit, we're going to greet that anxiety with compassion, because that's a very normal thing to feel. And we're going to use the breath to come into presence, because anxiety is really, it has to do with our thoughts thinking about the future. But for right now, we're going to, at least for about 10 minutes, we're going to pause and focus on the breath. And if the anxiety comes in, again, we're going to greet it with compassion. We're going to greet it with love. And the invitation is to use that breath to come back again and again to the present moment. So some possibilities for our mantra for today will be to, and you can kind of, whatever one lands with you, you could come back to that again and again as we do go into the breath. But one possibility here is, I'm learning to practice presence. Or perhaps it's, I release the anxiety and come into this moment. You get to choose. I'm going to throw out some of those phrases as they intuitively feel aligned for me as I guide you. And while we lean into that, into the power of just pausing and experiencing the present moment with our breath, that breath is going to guide us wherever each of you was meant to go today in terms of your healing and your transformation. So as we go through this journey, how it's going to look is, the very beginning of our breathwork journey will really be just some basic mindfulness. I'll just bring you into paying attention to the present moment, and you'll just stick with your natural breath. I might actually I'll probably start with a little bit of a grounding breath, but then it's just pay attention to your natural breath. Just be with that. Just breathe however you're breathing, no right or wrong. Okay. Then after a few minutes of that, I'm going to invite you into some active breathing, which I'll teach you the active breath in a second. We're going to do the same one I did with folks yesterday. It's a very gentle breath. I use a variety of patterns in my practice, but this one is very gentle. So for newbies and for people who I'm not right there in the room with you, this is the best, safest option. And so we'll do that active breath. The invitation will do it for about 6 or 7 minutes, which typically, even if you use a variety of breaths like box breathing or 4-7-8 breathing, most people don't do it for this sustained amount of time. But here we're going to lean into the sustaining of this breath, because it's really powerful to get you into the body and its healing powers. During that time, there's a variety of sensations that can arise. You can get tingling sensations in the body as we shift the pH. You can get changes in temperature. You can have urges to stay still or urges to move. You get to do it all, whatever feels right for you. You can get pressure in different parts of the body. You can get cramping. The most common places are in these little lobster claws in our hands or in our mouth. It is all safe. And if it doesn't feel safe in your body, because ultimately from a trauma-informed lens, we want to make sure you have that felt sense of safety in the body. That's really important for you to maximize the healing and to support you in integrating the benefits of this practice into your day-to-day beyond our time together. So if the cramping happens or the sensations come up, the tingling or whatever it is, and it feels like, this is too much, just stop the active breathing. Just go back to your natural pace. Totally will make things pass way more quickly. And we're going to do such a gentle breath. We're not going to get a ton of that, but you may still feel some of those things. And it's always helpful to know that it's very normal to have those experiences. Other things that can happen as we're shifting this energy through the breath, we can get a lot of yawning happening. If the yawn happens, let it be big. No good girl, good boy covering. Just let it be full and big and restorative. Also, you can have emotions arise. So even though we're doing a short, gentle session, some of what's maybe been under the surface can come up to the surface. And so maybe it is the anxiety that comes up. Maybe it's overwhelm. Maybe it's joy. Maybe it's excitement, whatever it is, and everything in between. Because we're practicing and leaning into presence as the intention, you get to lean in and just be with that. Okay. To go to your edge. Okay. I'm going to be right here guiding you along the way. So again, because this is trauma-informed, remembering that you are in the driver's seat. I'm just offering possibilities with my cueing. You get to decide the pace of the breath, the depth of the breath. If you want to stop, if you want to go the whole 6-7 minutes where I'm going to invite you to do, it's an invitation. You can say no, or you can say yes. The invitation is to tune in and listen to your body. You are the one in your body. Listen to what your body is needing. Okay. So that's kind of what to expect during that active breathing portion. Then at the end, I'm going to say, okay, we're going to release this active breath. And then there's just going to be a little spaciousness to just sit and be with the body, with whatever wisdom's going to come through. And we're releasing that, just into our normal breath. And I'll prompt with a little bit of prompting, just depending on wherever my intuition takes me. And then I will call you back to the screen, and you'll have a little chance if you want to share about how it was, or anything about, or any questions you might have, and just some support to integrate back into your day. So for the active breath portion, we're going to do what's called the halo active. If you picture an angel with a halo on top, you can picture it sort of that oval shape, and it's even on both sides. So we're going to do an even inhale, even exhale. If that feels good, of course, you can alter it if that feels right for you. And so that inhale, I'm going to invite in through the nose, and the exhale's out through the mouth. So it's going to look like this. It could be slower as well. So maybe you want to go real slow because you just have had the most stressful weekend or morning, and you just want to really get that parasympathetic nervous system back online. So it could look like this. And continuing with that pace. Maybe you want to pick up the pace, give yourself a little energy. It could look like this. I'm going to invite us in with a slow at the beginning, a slow at the end, and a little activation in the middle to really release and sort of unstick some of the stress and tension in our body with a little speeding up in the middle. You don't have to do it how I'm offering. If I offer to speed it up a little bit and that doesn't feel right, let it go. Stick with slow. If I'm doing slow and you're like, I just want to speed this up a little bit to energize myself, you do you. Okay. Any questions about the breath? Or perhaps people can do I don't know if you can do a like or something like that to give me a cue that you're good to go. If I don't hear anything, we'll just drop in. Some final safety things. Make sure that you're not driving while we do the active breath portion. You could listen in while you're driving, but don't do the actual active breathing. Also, no bathing at the same time as the active breathing to keep you safe. This is a super, super gentle practice. The only exceptions would be if you happen to have an untreated panic disorder, or if you have a history of seizures, or just recently had a heart attack. For those, you could still do this, but I'm going to invite you to make sure your pattern is really slow, very deep and slow breathing. Okay. No questions, no comments. So I think we're good to go. So we're going to drop in to the breath here. And I'm going to play my music, fingers crossed that the sharing feature I have is up and running and it's working. So make your way while I get the music going to a comfy position. Could be seated, could be lying down. Hopefully you can start to hear that music. And so wherever you land here, inviting you to see if you can make yourself even just 1% more comfy. Just leaning in here, knowing that even though I'm inviting you to get those wiggles out and readjust in whatever way makes you feel the most comfortable, knowing that you also can continue to bring in any movement you need throughout the practice, or you can stay in total stillness if that feels best. And so if you haven't already done so, inviting you now to drop those eyelids closed. And if that doesn't feel available to you, knowing that you can also just gently rest your gaze on something neutral, honoring whatever feels safe to you in this moment. And from this space of connectedness, I invite you now to just take one big restorative breath. And on that exhale, seeing if you can let your body be fully supported even more. by the chair or floor beneath you. You all support so many others, children, family, friends, allowing yourself now to be supported, letting your body connect with the gravity, letting yourself be held. And now just simply drawing your attention to the connection of your body to what's beneath you. Just moving your attention to wherever you feel that resonate the most. Perhaps the connection of your feet to what's beneath you, or your hips or your back to what's beneath you. And just noticing the connection. Noticing where there's touch, where there's spaciousness. In this very moment, the source of connection of your body to this source of support beneath or behind you. Now inviting you to draw your attention to your natural breath. Perhaps you feel that breath in your chest or belly or throat, nose or mouth, and just observing it. As the air goes in and those lungs expand, filling up, and the lungs releasing on that exhale. Perhaps the breath is slow or fast, deep or shallow. Just greeting it with curiosity. This little window into what's present for you right now. And now to call in our intention of I'm learning to practice presence. Inviting in the nourishing, active breath, the halo active, on your timing, inviting in an inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. This begins with breath. Continuing with this breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. I am offering a slow and gentle pace to help that body come into presence, to cultivate that felt sense of safety, and knowing that you have full permission to alter the breath in whatever way feels nourishing for you. Noticing what your body needs as this breath moves in and out of your body. Perhaps your body is loving the stillness. Or perhaps your body in this moment is calling you to stretch or sway as this breath moves in and out. Full permission to honor where the body and breath take you. now an invitation to speed up the breath. If it feels in alignment, to let that stress move through you. Continuing with this breath, learning to practice presence one breath at a time, letting this breath travel to those places that feel tense and letting that tension melt away, letting that stress release from your body, let it be held by what's beneath you. That's it. Beautiful. In through that nose, out through the mouth. Your body knowing its way back to presence, breath by breath, moment by moment. And now, inviting back in that slow paced breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth, knowing that if the quicker pace feels better and more nourishing, you get to stay there, you get to play. That's it, letting yourself connect with this body and all its wisdom. Knowing that you're exactly where you need to be in this moment. Presence in every moment, breath by breath. A few more big, nourishing, halo active breaths here. Letting whatever emotions are here be here. This breath, a dose of love again and again. And when this next deep, slow breath comes to a close, inviting you now to just return to your natural pace, just being, and just noticing your natural breath now. Where does it resonate? noticing any wisdom that's coming through in this moment. And if it feels good, inviting you to place your hands over your heart. Those hands over your heartbeat, your hands over your lungs as they work to support you, be it in an active breath or just in your natural breath. And thanking yourself for being here, for pausing to connect to this breath. Thanking yourself for showing up for this self-care conference, for learning, for prioritizing you, for centering your well-being, because you and your needs matter too. And inviting you now to check in with a body of an intention, what you want to bring from this session or this conference with you into your day, into your year. Beautiful. And as we move towards that intention, inviting in a little physical movement in the body, perhaps a wiggling of fingers or a rolling of the wrists or the neck or the ankles. Starting to bring movement in to bring you back into your present space. Letting those eyes open or come back to the screen. And I have so much gratitude for you for being here, for showing up. I would love to continue to breathe with you if you feel called. I will share in the chat for after some opportunities for staying connected with the breath. The upgraded ticket also offers you another recorded session with an intention of I am worthy. And if anyone wants to put in the comments anything about their experience, how they feel now, any questions, feel free to do so. I know I've got 1 minute left here. And I do want to share that for integration into your day, even though we did a super gentle practice, that it's still really, really important to hydrate because we shifted a lot of energy, to nourish yourself with grounding foods, healthy foods today, get outside in nature, connect with your people, really honor if your body needs to rest. Just really the invitation is to give yourself permission to notice the breath, to let the breath be your guide today, to cultivate more connection to the breath if you need more of a pause. And to know that you are enough, that you are worthy of time and space to honor your needs. So thank you for allowing me to be here. It doesn't look like there's any questions. Hopefully everyone's feeling a little restored. And again, I'll drop in some links if you want to stay connected for some breathing. And if you have any questions about the breath, about this experience, feel free to drop them in. I'll keep checking throughout the day on any support I can provide for you around breathwork or any answers of questions to the video. So I think that's a wrap.